Right at 12 minutes.
Okay.
Just like varying by a couple. Oh.
Yeah, it was like my first spring.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready. Thanks. So you?
Command their attention before you start. And it's okay to give them a hug.
Yeah, I'll wait for him to boil it down first. Hello and welcome. Today we will be talking about millennials in the workplace. We will be talking about who they are, what their opportunities are, and how businesses have changed. But first, we want to play a game called Millennial Monopoly. Going along with this, we took this from Technically Ron, who said, "Let's play a game of Millennial Monopoly. The rules are simple. You start with no money, you can't afford anything, the board is on fire for some reason, and everything is your fault." So this is humorous, right? Well, the thing is, it does give us a little bit of an insight or a view of how millennials feel right now. News and social media says that there are many weaknesses and fewer strengths in this generation. They say that millennials are impatient. They say that millennials are lazy, entitled, self-absorbed, disengaged, greedy, and wasteful. And we are here as millennials to say that though we have weaknesses, we have a lot of strengths, and these strengths will help you in your business.
Trevor just highlighted the very reason we are speaking with you today. We hope to point out the opportunities, the innovations, and the benefits of millennials in the workplace. We want to speak to all professionals in the workplace because there are people who wholeheartedly believe that the millennial generation is destroying society. So to overview our entire talk, we're going to talk about 3 points. Who are millennials, the opportunities for millennials in the workplace, and how millennials have impacted the workplace today. So first off, who are millennials? According to Pew Research, there are people who were born between the years of 1981 and 1997. And one of the ways that researchers like to determine whether or not if you're a millennial or in that generation is whether you remember the tragic day of September 11th. Do you remember the shock that was on the faces of the nation from newscasters to your parents? This was a defining moment in time where we as Americans felt weak and vulnerable. A time when people saw the effects of so much order fatally disordered all at once. Moments like this are to be remembered and seen as a time of growth when everything felt so weak and broken for our country. So generations X to Z, old and young, will forever need to work together to build out what was destroyed and to work out our differences. So, what does Bruno Mars, Jessica Alba, Zac Efron, Usain Bolt, Prince Henry, Prince William, Duchess Kate, and Roger Federer all have to do with this and millennials? Well, they are millennials, and they are some of the greatest examples for the millennial generation. And according to Inc.com, an influential business website and magazine, said that millennials are driven more so by mission and values than by money. Another study by the Cone in 2008 found 61% of millennials feel personally responsible for making a difference in the world. And they also talked about how millennials are a civic-minded generation. They volunteer more, they want to help, they want to do good. The Cone also found that 79% of millennials want to work for a company that is socially responsible, and 69% of those millennials would refuse to work for a company that is socially irresponsible. So how do millennials and their values and their civic-mindedness translate into the workplace?
Yeah, and to talk about that, we will speak about Ethan. So this is Ethan. Ethan is 24 years old, and he just graduated from UCLA with a degree in marketing. He has a lot of strengths. He's flexible. He's positive. He has a lot of self-control and has the grit to get things done. He also has worked. He worked for a Fortune 500 company. He was able to work with a team, and they were able to meet all their deadlines on time, and he was able to manage multiple products. But there were some problems. We could see that Ethan had some goals. He wanted to make an impact in the world. He wanted to enjoy life, and he wanted to help others. When he was at that company, his goals were not met. He was not able to help make important decisions. So he was not able to make that impact that he wanted. He wasn't able to take any vacation time, and there was no flexibility when he was working. For a lot of millennials, that 9 to 5 feels wrong, even though it's a traditional business model. So he wasn't able to enjoy life, like I said, and helping others. That's something that is very, very important to Ethan and the millennial generation as a whole. Now, the thing is, we don't want businesses to miss out on Ethan. So we invite you to look at some of the culture and advantages that happen. Many studies show that millennials have some advantages over the older generations. These would be flexibility. These would be working away from the office, or feeling that you don't have to be within the four walls of your office building. You can be outside thinking about it, and that happens more often with the millennial generation than with others. They also have better teamwork in reaching deadlines, as well as multitasking. Now, it is very important to be able to bridge this gap from an older workplace to the younger workplace. McManus did a study that suggested the following. He said that millennials need extra support in several areas, these being establishing respect and credibility. That will enable them to lead older team members as time goes on. They need to build fundamental skills that are conventionally learned through natural progression of long careers, and they need to understand effective and efficient work. While doing all these things, they need to acknowledge that hierarchy, bureaucracy, and the status quo, and they need to allow for the necessary patience and time for projects and ideas to mature, and to gain coalition among a variety of constituents necessary to ensure the success that everyone desires. So we invite all of you businessmen and all of you business people, or women, to ask them what they want. They may be very, very similar to the Ethan that we talked about earlier. Now, before we continue, we are not saying that you are doing business wrong. We want to let you know that traditional business models have been used and have been used effectively over the past number of years. What we are inviting you to do is to speak with your millennials and look at the culture of your business. Some companies have changed and have found a large growth and happiness in their business culture as they have listened to millennial suggestions.
And so we've learned about who millennials are, and we've learned about Ethan and his hypothetical situation. But it's not just hypothetical, it's actual. So millennials are changing the workplace as we know it today. We know that companies are changing the 9 to 5 because emails happen outside of that hour. And we know from Forbes, which is a business magazine, they found that millennials are helping companies transition to a new and improved workplace. One where the workplace focused on education, working mothers, a work-life balance, compensation, and giving back. Some of the companies, such as REI, they are changing their workplace for their employees. And right there it writes that 143 of their stores were closed on Black Friday so that their employees, the biggest word, employees can do just that. So they can opt outside, pursue what they like, and still be supported by their company. And so in turn, if they put their employees first, the employees will put them first. And I'm sure, how many people have heard of this REI opt outside? There we go. Another company, such as Amazon, where we get packages, they have opened their workplace to employees and their pets. They've allowed over 6,000 employees to bring their pets to work so that they can increase the effectiveness of what they do. And according to Amazon's blog, where they've put in many hours of research, they found that pets have increased the job satisfaction and cooperation amongst the employees. So here are some icons of many programs that are listed on many of these technology companies that offer these so that millennials can feel that they're valued, as well as millennials can put their best foot forward in these companies. Another one is such as pool and ping pong, and even fitness and yoga, and even bringing your family to events. So as you can see, many companies are making these improvements. So what can you do?
So what we invite you to do and to look at is your perception of millennials. We want you to rethink it. We want you to be able to talk with your workers. We want you to integrate this generation, improve your workplace culture. Because as we've mentioned with Amazon and REI, they've seen a change in their workplace for listening. They were able to opt outside, as Drew said, and they were able to see a general increase in happiness after bringing animals into the workplace. So us as millennials, we want to help. We want to be there for you. We want to do everything that we can to make a difference in the world. While we do not want you to change your culture, we do, again, ask you, please speak with your millennial employees and listen to what they say and what they have to offer. Let's try to better understand the generation gap so we can be better workers and coworkers. Let's try to take that millennial monopoly and change that for the workplace so it can just be regular monopoly. Thank you.
Okay, we've got just a few minutes, so let's jump, if it's okay with you guys, into the strengths and weaknesses of the improvements of the presentation, because there's a lot of really good things going on.
Weaknesses too.
Talk to us. What worked well? What worked well? Conrad, yeah.
I liked that you guys stood closer to us as the audience. I felt like that kept me more engaged with what you're saying.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Good. What else?
I really love the visuals throughout the entire presentation. I thought it was like engaging and current now, especially in the beginning when you like I feel like you hooked me right at the beginning when you like you had credibility like this is gonna be a good presentation when your photos of the different people were like you took the time to actually cut them out and it wasn't just like distracting blobs of photos. It was like actually get it out and place it.
Paid attention to pixels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I love that, but there was one part that I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that was the quote, the big quote. I noticed that you bold parts of it, but maybe if it like was faded out more than the other ones that you want to see.
Okay.
Okay.
It was just kind of like jarring. It was like, oh, it's such a beautiful presentation. And that would go like, oh wait, who did that?
That was me. He did the pretty stuff.
But that, yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Okay, thank you.
I really liked how you used for one example of Ethan, because even though technically I'm not a millennial, it still made it very personable, and I was able to relate to a lot of what was said about him.
Very cool. Very cool. Good. Any other strengths you want to point out?
I think something that I really liked was that you guys didn't stop talking. Like there wasn't any moment where I didn't continue what you were talking about. Even though you did look at your note cards, it was just constantly flowing and flowing between you two, and I felt very professional. Besides your attire, you know, just like the way you said things.
Yes. Yeah. Both worked really, really well.
Joseph Smith.
Okay, give them some things to think about in terms of improvements. A couple of them. Yeah. Go ahead, Lucia.
So when he was talking,
Really loud.
so for the very first part, you looked super, super nervous until you started talking. And so the very beginning, you kind of just like looked terrified. And I was like, oh, like I almost kind of distracted me. But
Okay,
then
can you
once
pinpoint why? Can you pinpoint why? Drew, do you feel nervous?
What I was figuring out is how am I going to change my note cards with two things in my hands? I was like, I didn't practice that.
Yeah, but you did a really good job. Once you started talking, it like flowed better, and neither of you started to seem super nervous. But the note cards and the phone and just the beginning of that was.
One thing I noticed, plant those feet. Plant the feet. You have a little bit of a sway while Trevor was talking, and I think that's one of the reasons why our attention was drifting a little bit. So yeah, plant your feet. Erin, yeah.
She pointed out what I was going to say for you, but Trevor, every time you first started talking, it was higher than you settled into like a peeping tone pitch. So like when you first
Okay,
like.
then I'll try to stop that.
So just be aware, like, and I think it was probably the nerves of about to start talking or something like that, but it was like higher and then it finally settled down.
Okay, so what would help with that? And that, it's really funny when you present in front of people, your voice will change. What typically happens to your voice when you present and you're nervous. Do you notice that? Okay, sometimes we get higher range pitch. We also tend to talk a little bit faster. Their pacing was really good, really, really good. But one
Yesterday
thing that will
wasn't.
help with that specifically, Trevor, take a
Yeah.
deep breath before you talk. Breathe in through to your diaphragm, so that way we'll get the nice, well-rounded tones right from the get-go. So that will help.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple things.
After you. After you. Yeah,
Oh,
go
okay.
ahead.
They said after her. A couple things that kind of like threw me off. Like I didn't really pay attention to body language that much, but I guess like that really long quote really killed it for me. Like it kind of felt dragged on a little too long. I probably would just have shortened it or take like excerpts from it that you thought were like the best parts. That really made me bored. And the second thing was like I felt like part of the presentation wasn't to us because you said like you're millennial employees, and I was like, I'm a millennial, so I don't know.
Well, it
what
was.
It wasn't
this
to
is,
you.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
just for like kind of businesses,
Okay,
and
good,
so the
'cause I was
audience
like, I don't know
wasn't
if this for
us;
me or
it was
Yeah.
them.
Okay. That was just kind of throwing me
Yeah.
off because I was like, they're talking to millennials, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't own a business, so.
They were geared specifically towards professionals. So, but I think it was interesting to see when we related to it and when we could see it was for a different audience.
Right.
So that's some good things for you guys to think about as well. Let's go one more comment, Conrad.
I was just gonna build off that. Like, I love the humor at the beginning, and I felt like that connected to us, as like employers would label us as like millennials. But then like the rest of it was focused to like someone else. So.
Okay.
And then one more.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Please.
I think your professionalism was awesome. And I think it's a topic too where you need to like be very professional if you're talking to businesses. But I also didn't feel like I got to know who you are. Maybe you guys are just way serious people in general, but I feel like there's more to you. So I would just like to like from even just like a little charisma or like just a little bit of who you guys are. So I got what millennials were and like in a professional way who they are, but I didn't get you guys.
One comment too that I had from that, would it have helped, have you guys ever been stereotyped because you are a millennial?
Mm-hmm.
Would it have helped to hear a slight or short narrative about that to build their credibility?
Dang
So
it.
that was the
I
one
was
thing
gonna
that
do
I
that and then
noticed
I
on your
forgot.
ethos, because you look very professional, you were very well prepared, but I think you needed to emphasize like, I'm a millennial, and I'm proud of it, and here's what I've experienced, and so that's why I'm credible to talk to you about this, as opposed to here's what you should do.
Yeah.
So it's bridging that gap, bridging that
Yeah,
gap.
makes
So I think
sense.
a narrative or something to kind of acknowledge that more so. But overall, really, really well done. Let's give a round of applause.
And time? We were good on time,
Yes,
right?
time?
Yeah, you were good. You were at
10:30ish.
I taped it.
10 seconds on
It was 10 minutes and 45 seconds.
Excellent, very good, very good. I'll write that down. Okay, hopefully.